To factor perfect square trinomials, we need to recognize the following patterns. When we have a binomial squared, we have the following result, which is the square of the first term, the product of the first and second doubled, plus the square of the second. Likewise, if we have a difference between the two terms, in this second example, but nonetheless a binomial squared, it still has the same pattern of first term squared, multiply the two together and doubled for a negative 2ab middle term, and square the last term, which is b squared. We call this a perfect square trinomial. To factor then, we're going to go in the opposite direction, starting with a perfect square trinomial and factoring. So here we'll use these as our guide and ask the question, is this a perfect square trinomial? Of importance is looking at the first term, is this a perfect square? X squared can be broken into x times itself. 9 is a perfect square since 3 times 3 is equal to 9. So our first term and our last term match. The third test is to see whether the middle term is the result of the square root of the first and the last term multiplied together and then doubled. And that is the case here. So this is a perfect square trinomial, which means we would then factor this into the following form of having a first term of x and the second term in the binomial being 3 with the quantity squared. Recognizing this can be written in expanded form as the binomial times itself. Here we have another example. Question again, is this a perfect square trinomial? First, we want to determine, is the first term a perfect square? And since 4x times itself is 16x squared, we've got a yes on that. The last term, 49, is a perfect square since 7 times itself is 7. The final check is multiplying these square roots of the first and last term together, doubling them, and seeing if that does result in the middle term that we have. We have a 28x times the 2 gives us that negative 56. The negative coming from both signs being the same, both being negative here, following this perfect square trinomial pattern of having the difference of the first and second term in our binomial. So here we have it broken down into its factors. It followed the pattern that we just went through, and to factor it will go in the opposite direction of our multiplying to give us the square root of the first term being 4x and square root of the second term being 7, having the minus or the difference between these two. And recognizing again, a quantity squared is that quantity times itself. Here we have another example. We go through the same process. Is the first term a perfect square? Yes. X, the quantity squared, is x squared. Is 9 a perfect square? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. However, notice the minus sign. In both cases for a perfect square trinomial, the last term needs to be a plus. So we failed on meeting the criteria for a perfect square trinomial. To achieve this negative 9, one of the 3's would have had to have been negative and the other positive, which is not the same number. This cannot be factored using the perfect square trinomial. In this next problem, certainly doesn't look like perfect squares on the first and last term. However, always we should consider, is there a largest common factor? And in this case there is. There's a 3 common as well as an x, and because our leading term is negative, we'll take out a negative 3x so that our first term results in a positive term. Looking at the remaining trinomial to factor further, we'll do the test again for the perfect square trinomial. First term is 5x, quantity squared. Square root of 4 is 2. It meets the criteria for the first and last term. The test then is multiply the square root of each, 5x times 2. Double it is that the middle term, and we have a 10 times 2 giving us the 20x that we're looking for. The signs agree with our top choice here. That means we will factor this into the a plus b quantity squared. We can't forget though that we did factor out that largest common factor. Here is our factorization of the trinomial. Using the pattern then, we will express it in factored form of the square root of the first term in the first term of our binomial, the square root of the last term as our second term in the binomial, and then the binomial needs to be squared. Our final answer then, if we have this in expanded form, and we can't forget that largest common factor that was factored out.